Hi everyone, Phoenix Kawamoto from the Greater New Paltz Community Partnership, a drug-free communities grant project serving youth and families here in the New Paltz School District in New Paltz, New York. And I just want to welcome you all to Building Hope and Breaking Down Walls, our informational series on opiate and heroin addiction. And today we're really excited to have with us Shayna and Cassandra from the Route 212 Coalition, a coalition that you're going to hear a lot about, as well as the exciting things that they're doing here in Ulster County, not just in their service area, but how the things that they're creating are really a benefit and a wonderful tool for all of us here. So I want to take this time to thank you for being here with us, and also thank you for the work that you're doing. I had the opportunity to meet these two young women through our countywide task force. There are a number of them, and I had heard about you a few weeks before I actually got to meet you, and was very impressed with the grassroots efforts that they have been so heavily involved with and really initiated in their communities. So welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
And so I'm not sure which one of you would like to start our conversation, but would really like to have you share how you got together, how you started the Route 212 Coalition, maybe some of what you're working on before we launch into the main part of the show.
Sure. Well, I can talk a little bit about how we met. We both worked at a Mexican restaurant in Woodstock together years ago, and we instantly became like really close, really good friends. And I was kind of the crazy one, and Shayna was the real level-headed, rational one. And she always she was always there when I needed, just someone to just like put me back to that level place. And she was always that friend for me, and we got really close. And then she moved to Denver, and
For grad school.
Yeah,
It was great. Grad school was great. But when I came back, I ended up working back at the same Mexican restaurant while I was trying to, get on my feet and figure out what was next. And Cass and I were working together again, so it was great. We reconnected, and we're as close as we ever were, and get closer because she's one of my best friends. And it's been really great to work on things that we're both passionate about together, which is kind of how we started the coalition. So in Woodstock, we had a number of really young folks pass away, one right after the next, and it really shook the town. They passed away from opiate-related overdoses, and there was a town meeting, and we had already been talking about how bad the issue was, and wanting to do something about it. And this town meeting, they were talking about, what are we gonna do? Let's do this, let's do that. And everyone was talking, and we decided we needed to put action to our words. So we launched the Route 212 Coalition to start working on ending the stigma and bringing awareness to the issue, and trying to figure out where the resources were in the county to help people that needed it.
Yeah, and Woodstock, that community in particular, I was aware of just the, really tragic losses. New Paltz has had its share of losses as well. And I think that, some of the things that I had heard about you're doing were similar to what we were working on here, and it was just really wonderful to be able to join forces with you. So, as far as your service area, though, the communities that you work with, how far of a reach do you have as far as the Route 212 Coalition? Because we know that there will be other communities in our area who are going to be watching this show, so that to help them find you and know what else that you're doing. Can you say a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, we named it the Route 212 Coalition because in our area, Route 212 is the connecting road for Saugerties, Woodstock, and Shandaken. And we found that they were really underserved, especially Shandaken. It's very rural, and there's not a lot of services out there. But also Woodstock and Saugerties as well. They're smaller communities, and they were kind of underserved. There weren't a lot of resources extending out that way. And that was something that we found looking in the gaps of why this issue was happening and what can we do to kind of fix it. And it was lack of resources, lack of knowledge about resources. So that was one of the gaps that we really addressed first-handedly. And in that grassroots kind of movement, it was really inspiring to just see that really the key piece that was missing was just that action piece, that initiation piece. So we thought we would come up against a lot of resistance, because that's just what we heard was going to happen from other types of movements that we were trying to have ourselves. You're going to meet resistance in the police departments and political parties and this and that, and the business owners. No one wants to address the problem. They want to pretend like it's not happening. And that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
We had such a beautiful, just like gathering of our communities together on so many different levels, from your neighbor to your police chief to your town supervisor to a business owner,
legislators, librarians. I mean, really the community came together and showed up to try to work on some solutions. And I think it was really great to see the community really want to come together to take action.
Unfortunately, that tends to be a common response after a tragedy. But it's like these great gifts come in really the worst packages that you never want to have your community or a family experience.
Right.
But the gift is that you have been able to sustain it and keep your efforts going forward, which really says a lot about the two of you, because a lot of times as people settle back into their normal lives and the demands of their lives, I'm not being judgmental, it's just as life moves on, people can kind of fall by the wayside.
Right.
But that hasn't been the case. I mean, you've provided a number of Narcan trainings. But if you could say just one quick word about the regular support meeting you have, and then we'll move into your Woodstock Outreach Initiative program, because I really want to make sure that folks hear about that specific program too. So can you say something about the support group?
Yeah. Get back again to addressing the gaps in the community. One of the gaps we really found was support services. There was nothing really available for the people that are dealing with someone who's struggling, the friends, the family, the coworkers. It wasn't there. And that was something that we really focused on, and we worked really hard to establish a local support group. It's called Touched by Addiction, and it's at the Woodstock Library upstairs the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 6:30. So we have some really great things happening there.
And anyone of any age is welcome. It's an unaffiliated group, so it's not faith-based, it's not 12-step, which are available in our communities and work wonders for people who really feel to connect with them. But we made something more along the lines of a community-based support group, so that for people who don't like to kind of go with those traditional options, that there would still be something else.
Wonderful. I really applaud you in your work. It's really vital. And you play such an important role in your communities, but also in the county. So.
Well,
Thank
so
you.
are you, Phoenix. We're among like people.
I'm very inspired by your work, and I have been since the moment I heard about you. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
I won't embarrass you any further.
It means a lot.
But the PAARI program now. What Shannon and Cass are going to talk to you about is the Woodstock Outreach Initiative program, but it's based on a national model, the PAARI program. For those who aren't familiar, it's called Police Assisted Addiction Recovery Initiative. And that in and of itself really, it goes back to something you said earlier, and what I know we have here in New Paltz through Chief Snyder is tremendous support on the law enforcement side.
Super important.
I think there's a lot of different sectors in our communities who really recognize the need and who are equally afraid and frustrated and really are looking for creative, out-of-the-box solutions, knowing that it's not a one-size-fits-all. disease. You have to have many different options for the many different ways people are going to need to access treatment.
Right.
So can you give an overview, Shana, perhaps on how you found out, a little bit about PAARI and how you found out about it, and then maybe, go from there?
Sure. Well, we had been talking about different kind of programming, maybe starting something kind of like a diversion program that starts earlier, not just for felonies. And Cass was doing research and came across this program actually online. So it's a program that started out of Gloucester, Massachusetts by their police chief, Chief Campanello. And they started this program, I believe it was Thanksgiving. Is that when it was?
No, that was when Cooperstown started.
Okay. But
the program itself now is probably about a year and a half since when Gloucester really started it.
So it's a very new program, and Cooperstown, which is also in New York, their police department has adopted it along with many others across the nation. And it's essentially a program that holds a network of treatment facilities of all different levels throughout the nation. And they help link people to get into treatment. So we looked for a police department that we could work with that would be interested in adopting this type of program and modeling it in a way that works for our community. So that's what we did.
And it was again with the resistance, coming up against resistance, wondering where that was going to take us and how we'd maneuver that, because just going up and being like, let's try this new program that we don't know how it's going to work, we don't know what it's going to look like yet, but the end result is helping people, and just jump on board with that. And they did. I commend the Woodstock Police Department, Chief Keith, and our town supervisor, Jeremy Wilbur, and another town official, Bill McKenna. We all worked together very closely for a very long time. We met on a weekly basis, just dotting all the I's, crossing the T's, making sure all of our paperwork was in place. There wasn't a lot of oversight. There wasn't a lot of direction. It was this program that started in Gloucester and just blew up. So
very quickly.
For them to catch up with the demand was a little difficult. So when we'd reach out to them, they were like, you know what? The main point of this program is model it and mold it. Model it after us, but mold it to what your community needs. And that was awesome to just be able to take that and go with it and work with our police department and do that. So we came up with all of the applications for the Angels, which is probably another piece we'll touch on.
Yeah, I would say let's just jump right in. So, because I know about how wonderful this program is and the different pieces, but if you can really break it down for folks who are watching this at home, so what is the Woodstock Outreach Initiative program, and how do people access it? And what can they, and then we can go further from there.
Yeah, I think, the Woodstock Outreach Initiative program is the name that we gave our program modeled after PAARI. So that's what the name of our program is out of Woodstock. And like Shana said, it's a network of treatment facilities throughout the country. And the important part is that for every 2 people these treatment facilities take with insurance, they're obligated to take 2 people without insurance.
Fantastic.
Right? And that's
really amazing.
That's the key piece for them to sign up for this program. And that is what allows people to access treatment without insurance. And these treatment facilities are all across the country. None of them are in New York. So that's something we really wanted to emphasize on, was this program is for people who are really looking to get out and start over.
And need that.
And I think that's really important.
We have some awesome
We
resources
do,
here for
definitely.
people who have
Absolutely.
jobs and families who need to receive their treatment where they live. But there are people who really need a clean break.
Yeah.
And
this offers it to them.
opportunity
Right.
for them.
And that's great. So that is where we started, and that's where we like to market it. I think it's important. So out of that came, who and when and where. So it's a police initiative. It needs to be out of the police department, which can at times be intimidating, but we want to really stress that they have the best interests at heart. and when you walk into the police department, what it would look like for someone looking to get help is you go up to the dispatch window. We made a resource packet, an informational packet. It's handed to the person who's interested, and they can go through it, and it describes the program and the requirements for our program, one of which being you need to travel out of state. Another being there's a want and warrants check. And if there's wants or warrants, you just need to clear that up first before they can really do anything. Again, it's a police program.
It doesn't mean that you can't participate or go right away. It's a very case-by-case situation. So it's still definitely worth going in and finding out about the program if you're looking to go to treatment.
And also in that packet we listed the local resources in case someone's not able to, travel far away. From there, they get linked up to an angel who we have canvassed the community looking for, and we have amazing volunteer angels. We have about 13. They're each on 1 6-hour shift a week, on-call volunteer shift. The program runs from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. Out of the Woodstock Police Department. Every day, 7 days a week. So if you come in outside of those hours, you can schedule an appointment inside of those hours.
You can also just call to schedule an appointment if you don't want to just stop in at some random time to try to make it better to fit your schedule or whatever is helpful to you.
And your family is welcome to come also. So when you go in, you're going to be linked up with a police officer, and if willing, open to it, angel who we've trained. We came up with a training for all of the angels and everyone who works in the police department, including dispatch, officers, everyone. So they've all been trained on the overview of the program. They've been trained on empathy and compassion. They've been trained on understanding. Listening skills, all the basic things that can be really helpful when someone who's coming in might be stressed out and anxious. I mean, it's a big ordeal to decide you want to go to treatment.
Absolutely. And that window of willingness, to get help and recognition of, yes, I really want to do this, can be really small. So absolutely, the ability to seize that opportunity and connect someone as quickly as possible is really key. So when that moment arises and you go in, we really wanted to make sure that we emphasize that it's a really comfortable environment. So when you go in, you're going to go into the room with the police officer, your family, the angel, and it's a simple form that the police officer needs to fill out. It's not an interrogation process. It's not meant to gather information in any way. All it is just that basic information that police officer is going to have to give these treatment facilities when they call. No more than the information you'd have to give them yourselves. So it needs to be initiated by a police officer because it's a police program. And after that, the treatment facilities work with the participant individually. And that can be over a course of, we've heard people being accepted the next day to a week. So there could be a waiting time that's expected also, but that waiting time is working towards the goal of really getting into treatment. Now, for folks who may not have financial resources available to them to help get them to a bus or a train or a plane, I know you've put a lot of work into this. Can you share with folks about the scholarship program and how you work with Family of Woodstock?
Sure. So we worked with Family of Woodstock to hold a scholarship fund. And essentially the scholarship fund, all of the donations will go directly to this program. It will help with costs like transportation to get to the airport or to a bus or to a train or whatever it might be. And also to help cover initial costs. If someone's eligible for insurance but they can't meet that basic initial payment, then we can probably do what we can to help cover that. The unfortunate plug here is that we're always asking for donations because it's really important that people get to go to treatment and that financial barriers don't keep someone from going when they need to go. So So far, we had a really successful event over the summer, our Lights of Hope event that we have amazing volunteers that help put on.
Yeah.
I mean, truly amazing. And we raised a great deal of money so far. But we're always looking for ways to kind of fill up that scholarship fund so that when someone needs it, it's available.
Yeah, because those are not small ticket items.
No.
I mean, transportation costs, deductibles. Those of us, we understand that. It's not an easy thing to meet. This is so exciting. How has it been since you launched? I know you haven't. It's just a short time ago that you launched the program. But so far, how are things going?
Everything's going really well. Our volunteers are really solid. They are there when we need to talk to them, when we need to speak with them, make scheduling arrangements. If someone's going on vacation, they're all really flexible.
Super
so we want to
flexible.
just commend them over and over and over again. It's not easy really committing that much amount of your time to something that may not be easy, but that's really important work. So we commend them, definitely, and they're totally available. The police department has been really present too. If anybody comes in and asks about information, if anybody calls in, they're really well educated, and they really are just on top of making sure that program's super available. We're always looking for participants to come in. As far as that goes, we've had a lot of inquiries, but we haven't been able to really utilize the program. So that's what we're hoping to do with this episode with you. Thank you so much for allowing us this space.
Thank you very much.
To be able to promote it, because we worked really hard and we really believe in it, and it's going to be a really great thing. And again, it's intimidating walking into a police station, and I totally get that. But it's a safe place, and we want people to know that the best interests are at heart here, and we just want to make sure that we don't lose another community member.
Oh, absolutely not. And I think that, one of the reasons that we're doing this, I think, again, it's about really supporting as many different creative, options that we have. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to launch something of this size, especially with an all-volunteer. Other than the police part of it, it's all volunteer, including the two of you, which, I get that. And, I think that anything that we can do to be supportive of that is incredible, because we are in this together, really, and this program isn't just for people along the Route 212 corridor, right? This is a program that's accessible for anybody in Ulster County.
Anybody outside of the county, too.
Outside of the county.
Anybody can come.
So, and this is why, I opened this show up a little differently, because I want folks, our intention is to really put this information out in the region. We want folks to know about this program, to be able to access it. And if there are people who are along the Route 212 corridor who weren't aware of this program and who are intrigued by being a volunteer, how do they reach out to you? How do they say, hey, I just saw this episode and I want to know more? How do they contact you?
Well, so we have a brand new Facebook page specific to the Woodstock Outreach Initiative program. They could also find us on Facebook under the Route 212 Coalition. They could email us. It's rt212coalition@gmail.com, or we have Woodstock Outreach Initiative @gmail.com. And they can email us or message us on Facebook. Those are the fastest ways typically to reach us.
Great. You have lots of great options for people. What about going forward, do you have anything coming up that you would also like to use this opportunity to tell folks about? I know, like I said, you've been doing a lot of Narcan trainings for those folks who are not, who may not have heard about naloxone. It is, an opiate overdose remedy, fast acting. We've done a training here in New Paltz. We'll be doing another one in the near future, probably this fall. So What's new? What's coming up for Region 12?
Well, after the launching of PAARI and after the vigil, that was a tremendous amount of work, and a lot of our volunteers are teachers. So for the last month, it's been nice. We kind of have been able to like relax a little
breather.
bit, but I'm getting anxious. So come the beginning of September, we're going to really revamp it up. We're going to start looking into new ways to approach the school year and new ways to approach the youth. We're going to keep on promoting the Woodstock Outreach Initiative program as much as we can. So if anyone's interested in sharing our Facebook page or emailing us, and we can send you a PDF file email-wise, maybe of a flyer or something, so we have some great information on that. One event that I'm really, really excited about is we're collaborating with the Hudson River Playback Theater.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great. I know. So I've been working with Sarah. We've been working with Sarah.
Dynamite.
Yeah, to bring in the Playback Theater on October 5th at the Woodstock Community Center. And it wouldn't have been able to be possible without the financial help of the Christ King's Church in Stone Ridge, New York. So they were super supportive and lended the money to the Hudson River Playback Theater to be able to bring that to Woodstock, New York. So what it is, they're a theater group that acts out questions from the audience. Mm-hmm. So you ask a question and it's going to be centered around opiate and heroin use, and they kind of play that out, and it really opens up the space as a comfortable, fun, easy place to really talk about a really tough issue. Mm-hmm. So they're really super passionate. They've done a ton of research to really bring accurate information. So we've been working together on that, and the community center has been donated to us for that evening. Really great by the Woodstock Town Board. They've allowed us that space, and it's gonna be really fun. So it'll be all over our Facebook pages, and we'll send out an email blast. So we hope to see a ton of people there. Mm-hmm. All the proceeds, it's a donation event, and all the proceeds go to the Woodstock Outreach Initiative Scholarship Fund.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a powerful medium, and we've been. I've had a conversation actually with Sarah to initiate doing something here in New Paltz as well.
Nice.
And as we get ready to wrap up, this program, I just want to let folks know who are watching at home. If you are in the New Paltz, the greater New Paltz area, please know that Chief Joe Schneider is also very interested and supportive of New Paltz becoming, a site, depending on what the need is in the future and what happens with the Woodstock Outreach Initiative program. So, you're really leading the way, and a lot of people are behind you. So, again, thank you so much for being part of this show. Mm-hmm. Thank you to everyone at home, wherever home may be. Thank you for being with us and sharing your time with us. I hope that you will find this information really helpful and help pass it along to people, because we need programs like this, and we need your help in spreading the word. So thanks again, and take good care.